on this computer. Hello, Roger. Hey, Dan Bishop. He's been to 2 so far, so welcome back. And I feel like we've got enough people to kick off. So, guys, what we're going to do, anyone that hasn't been to a webinar before, we're going to, it's mainly about Sammi and Josh today. I'm going to interject with some of your questions over time. So if you've got questions, fire them to us either in the Q&A box or in the chat box. And if your question's fantastic enough, I'll shout it out live on air by interrupting Sam and Josh. I know what's coming as well, so don't freak if we don't get to your questions straight away. We're going to put some freebie stuff up. Well, not freebie stuff. We're going to give you some discounts as well. So everyone knows, or maybe some of you don't know, we've got online courses that we're building as well. And Sammi and Josh are building one for us right now. So we're going to put a discount code up, and I'm going to chuck it in the chat box in a second. And that's going to give you guys 50% discount off their course. So we'll talk about that in a little bit more detail as well. As I said, fire us with the questions, and we're going to do some polls and some other stuff. It's 100% interactive as best. We'll do our best to answer everything as much as we possibly can. And if any of you missed the links that I put in the chat box, there's your code. So it is marketing50. If you use the code without the bunny ears, marketing50, you'll get a 50% discount. These things are limited though, guys, and we close the pre-launch discount down within a week. So if you don't get it within a week, it's gone. And there's only a certain number. As I said there's 30. And when those 30 are gone, they're gone. And then there's no more discounts until we go. You're not even going to be able to get anything until we go live. So I'll put it in the chat box. Get in early, don't miss out. And without further ado, I'm going to take it off share, and you guys can steal that off me and then get stuck into it. So do you want to steal that?
Yep.
Should just be able to nick it straight away.
Just let me know when that's up.
Just coming up. We are good to go. I'm going to hide my screen for a bit, so it's all about the other two, and I'll come back from time to time.
Perfect. Thanks, Croft. So welcome, everyone. My name is Josh Wingrove, and this is Sam Robinson, both from Pursue Wealth. So today we've got some pretty exciting things. We're going through marketing like a boss. So online domination. So making sure we can absolutely dominate the online side of things to equate that to lead generation. So that's what we're going to discuss today. More importantly, we're trying to make it really practical today. So you can see we get bombarded with emails from a lot of marketing companies, but we really want to make it so you can take away things from this today and implement some of it and try to make it really kind of practical for you and your businesses. So really here's a bit about the agenda and what we're going to get out of today. So why really listen to us? So that's the main thing. Benefits of online marketing. So we're going to jump through, some of the stats around that. Making sure you've got a finish line. Why would you bother looking at online marketing? There's a lot of things out there, so we're just going to make sure it's for you, and if it is something that you want to do, who is your client crush? So the ideal client for you, and making sure that you have the online marketing for them. Social media channels. So we'll jump through and we'll talk about all the different social media channels, what they're good for, how to start that. And a little bit of stuff around us and how we go about doing it, websites and SEO. A lot of hype around definitely SEO, but what is SEO? Automation and emails. So that's a little bit of nurturing. So once you've kind of got people's information off the website, social media, how do you then nurture them and make them into a client, I guess? Then measuring its success. Putting a lot of time into doing this, but has it all been worth it? And where to from here? What are the next steps moving forward?
So I guess to introduce ourselves, so Pursue Wealth, we actually started our business in 2014. We've got 6 in the team, some absolutely incredible guys, which we are so lucky to work with. And our business realistically is built around working with amazing go-getters, people who are just like us. They're really keen to get ahead. They're motivated. We offer financial advice and mortgage advice. By no means are we the biggest company around, and we definitely don't intend to be. But marketing is something that we are really passionate about, because our brand is something that we think is a reflection of our personalities, and something that we can really bring to light and share with our members as well.
Awesome. So why would you want to listen to us? So as Sam mentioned, we've kind of spent a lot of time on the marketing side and social media in particular. But from, I suppose, the stats side of things, we have about 48, close to half of all of the new clients that we get are coming through from marketing channels. So if that's from the website, Google, or social media, so we're getting about half of our clients from there. Of those 48%, we're converting 42% of those from unqualified leads that we've never met, and I guess a lot of the time, haven't even come from other clients and so forth. We're converting them actually into fee-paying members. So just so everyone is aware, we call members clients. So just want to make sure that's all good. We have been in a lot of magazines, websites. I mean, you can read that, blogs, videos and stuff. So we're trying to actually get out there and solidify the brand, but also it's a lead generator for us. And we've been lucky enough, Sam's pretty much won every award in the whole finance industry, but we've won awards, which has been good. And more importantly, really today, it's about you guys, and we want to be super generous and help give back to you. And, from some of the things that we've learned, I suppose, share that with yourselves.
Yeah, exactly. We've started from scratch, so we want to give you guys some insight as to how we've done that.
Yeah.
So what I might do now with you guys is, because that list is pretty long, you want a lot of stuff. Sort later. But how about we chuck the first poll up? What do you reckon? And maybe get a bit of a pulse check on where everybody's at. How do you feel? You happy with that?
Yep, pumped.
Very.
All right. So any of you haven't done a Zoom poll before, you should be seeing it pop up on your windows now. There's a pretty straightforward one today. So Sammi and Josh want you to tell them everything about your social and SEO world. So 3 questions. What best describes your online presence? Question number 2, what social media platform does your business actively use the most? Where's things like email? Isn't email social media?
That's interesting. We've got email automation.
Look at you being nice to the old mate Gen Xer floating around in there. What about physical newsletters, Sam? When do we get?
No. You want to waste your money? Go for it.
Depends on the demographic you're going for.
Stop being so bloody diplomatic. All right, so this is sort of like where we should have that on hold music playing in the background, but instead of that, you just get Captain Monotone abusing people that send newsletters out. So we want a decent number of voting. I know some of you will just be listening in because you're driving. Please don't vote if you're driving. Public safety announcement.
I still think it's important to vote. So
pull over to the side, put the handbrake on, and pull over to the left. Look, you guys, these polls are actually really important because they help Sam and Josh and myself basically tailor the answers and what they're going to show you, because these guys have got a bunch of stuff behind the scenes that they're going to show you as well today. So we'll just give it another couple of seconds to get those answers coming through, and then we'll ask the experts whether or not they thought what they're seeing in terms of answers is what they thought, or if there's some shocks and stuff in there. So if you haven't voted, just get those votes in now. Just another few more seconds, and then we'll shut it down. I reckon that will do. So, now, see, that's it. Every time I threaten to shut it down, people are like, "Oh shit, I haven't voted yet," and they just start randomly.
We're like, "Oh, I need to vote. I don't want to miss out."
Yep.
All right, let's go end poll and share the results. So, Sammi and Joshy, just let me know when you guys can see that.
Yep, it's popped up.
All right, so feel free to go through that and just give us your thoughts. What do you reckon?
I would have thought that is probably what I would have expected. So having a website, but consistency.
What best describes your online presence?
Yeah. I think that's good to see. So we have 13% come through saying that they've nailed their social media and website and SEO, which is awesome to see. But hopefully we can give you guys some additional tips today. Hopefully maybe something you hadn't thought about, and maybe you can send us some ideas as well. Social media, Facebook, I would say that's probably the easiest one to get on, and LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So that doesn't surprise me. It seems like a lot of people have the question around how Instagram can actually be used as a professional tool. Is a lot of the questions that we get about it. So it doesn't surprise me that it's not being used a whole lot.
Particularly in finance, in the service industry, it's hard. You can't take a photo of money, can you?
Yeah.
Well, you can, but
it's not that interesting. And then, so struggling most with, social media. That would definitely be what we've seen across the board, people struggling with both. But it's pretty even, really. It seems like everyone's needing a bit of help across the board.
I think everyone just pretty much just selects it all.
All of the above.
Yeah.
I'd selfishly love you guys to spend the rest of the session on email automation. For anyone that hasn't been to a webinar before, these are basically one-on-one free coaching calls that Croft organises with his mates for me. And then if you guys get some benefit out as well. But email automation, I reckon, is a huge one as well. If you can, are you going to share with the kids on the call a little bit about how you do that? Because my email automation, I've got up to a sequence of one email. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
well
I haven't
done.
got to email number 2. It freaks me out.
Yeah, definitely. We'll go through some of the email sequences that we have. Just one example in particular. And it doesn't need to be as complicated as you think, and you can utilize some of the secondary and third email sequences in multiple lead magnets, I guess. It's kind of what we've done.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, I'll go. I'll hide myself now and let you guys run with it.
All right, let's.
Awesome. Okay.
So, why online marketing? So, for us, really, it's about, if you're not online, you don't exist, because we're dealing with people that are in the space of Gen Ys, really. Everyone's online, so you kind of have to be there. It's to really solidify your brand and make sure, if someone's looking for you, they find you actually, on social media or online. So the first thing you do realistically when you're looking at buying a product or service, for us in particular, is to go online and search for it. So if they can't be found, then automatic, trust is broken almost. So, it's a way of really building your trust. It's to show how awesome you are and make you look bigger and better than you actually potentially could be. I mean, we're trying to make ourselves look bigger. And you can cherry pick. You can't sit with us. So, in our demographic, about half of all Instagram users are daily. 75 or 3/4 of all people on Facebook are checking that daily. So if you're on these social media platforms, it's obviously going to help you a lot and solidify that brand. Everyone's looking on their mobile, so about 80% of the time. About 50% of small businesses don't actually even understand what SEO is. So we're going to kind of give a little brief overview of what SEO really is. It's a key word and everyone seems to be using it, but what is it? As Tomo said previously, using videos is a huge way, and that's going to progress and increase as time goes on. Everyone, is too busy, so a video instead of reading an article is a lot easier. And everyone is using Google. 94% of organic traffic is through Google. So if you're not on Google, you are literally not around. So make sure you're on that. So that's a little bit around online marketing and why it's super important.
So I think the most important thing, just like anything when we're creating a financial plan for our clients or any goal that we're trying to achieve, is actually figuring out what it is that you're trying to achieve. I know for us in the beginning, it started a lot about education. So we were just wanting to get in contact with our members and ensure that they're up to date with different things that are happening or different strategies, just feeling like the more that they understood about finances, the more in control that they were going to feel about their financial strategy. It then kind of cleared to us that it was more about, or it could also be a lead generation type tool and about brand awareness. We started to get recognized because of the stuff that we were doing online. And I guess a flow through of leads or introductions were coming from our online presence. So we wanted to then change our focus, not only from an educational point of view, but then we wanted to change it from education from our existing members, turn that into a lead generation for new or potential members.
We also use it as almost like an ongoing for members at the moment. So we say, look, check out our social media pages. We have like different messages and fun facts and so forth. And recently we've done one on, like, I hurt my arm, which was not ideal, but and then someone commented and came to us and said, do I have that specified injury benefit? And, it kind of led then to, a claim, which, probably wouldn't have happened otherwise because they thought a broken arm meant nothing.
Yeah.
So it's a good way to educate ongoing as well.
Get in front of more clients more often. So obviously it's about looking at your brand, your communication, your style, colors, graphics, etc. So what we really want to focus on is actually, before you start your marketing strategy, is understanding what your brand Bible actually means, or your style guide. And that's having really clear lines to draw in the sand as to how you can actually use your brand, how people are allowed to use the colors, when people talk about your brand, what type of words should they be using, your team, their language. So all of that actually does come down to your marketing, because if you're not all on point, then you're going to give away a lot of mixed messages across the board. So I'm going to go through a little bit of brand Bible with you in a minute. And then just obviously aligning your mission and values. I think this is something that everyone harps on about all the time. Yeah. Obviously, it's understanding your mission and your values. But if we can get really clear on understanding that your mission actually should align directly with your marketing strategy. Yeah. So, for example, our mission is that we provide innovative financial advice that inspires our members to achieve financial freedom whilst balancing a fun and fulfilling lifestyle. And our values are to be genuine, fun, inspirational, innovative, yet professional. So everything that we do, we always ask ourselves, does that actually entail all of the values that we have? And is that actually going to inspire our members? Is it going to ensure that they are having fun, yet still being fulfilled and being a little bit sensible on the side? So that comes down to every single post that we put out. We ensure that it goes back to our mission and our values.
Yeah, and we don't mean to be kind of harping on about Pursue Wealth because it's not about us, but when you actually can relate it to, like an actual example, I feel like you can see it in more depth. So that's why we're kind of trying to give an example, I guess.
Yeah. So in the tool or in the course that we're putting together, the toolkit will actually give you a bit of a guideline around mission and values, which I'm hoping that we've all got nailed anyway, but more so around a brand Bible and how to actually put that together. So we're hoping that by giving you a template as to what a brand Bible should entail, then it'll be a little bit easier for you. So I've got an example here, and this is about Skype. So I wanted to pick a brand that we're all really aware of so that we can relate to what a brand Bible is. I've just chosen a couple of key areas that they've talked about in their brand Bible. So for example, they've talked about their colors here. So obviously you can see that this is all done in their iconic speech bubbles, but what colors that they are able to be used across the board. And so for any marketing, these are the colors that need to be used. For their logos, it's the difference between what they're able to put on their printed material versus online material and why their logo is so important to them. The logo do's and don'ts. So, you don't spend all this time and money on these beautiful logos and then all of a sudden you chuck it on what they describe as a yucky color, being the red, and it doesn't look anywhere near as effective, and it actually takes away from their branding. That is so important when it comes to marketing across the board. Again, that's just another example of different backgrounds that they are and aren't allowed to use the logo on. This one I really liked because it came down to the language that they're using, and that is part of your marketing strategy, is your language. So they're talking about words that we like and words we don't like. And I think that is really important. So for example, like in our firm, if we had one of our guys sign off on their email saying, kind regards, I think, our members would probably flip lids because it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't align with, our fun and playful type environment. So that is a word, for example, that we don't like and we won't allow in our practice.
So guys, I'll jump in because we've got some questions coming through.
Yep.
Yeah, cool.
And there's a couple from Joseph now. So thanks, mate, for firing them through. And then Mark sent one through as well. And this is, I'll do the whole devil's advocate stuff, right? And I think I'd love to get your opinion on this because I reckon most small businesses suck at this stuff.
Yep.
They basically go, Joseph said, brand Bible seems to be a luxury for a small business.
Yeah.
What's your view on that? Because I think one of the biggest misconceptions is marketing is exclusive to the realm of large business.
Mm.
And that there's you either have a shitload of money and a shitload of resources and then therefore you can do marketing or you don't do anything. Where do you guys sit around the brand Bible stuff? Clearly everybody that's listening is not going to have the brand budget of a Skype.
No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
exactly.
sure.
Does that therefore automatically exclude them from even thinking about having a brand Bible? And if they are going to think about it, what elements would you say they should get at a minimum?
Yeah. So obviously this is something that we're pretty passionate about. But to me, brand Bibles are something that should be across the board. I don't care if it is a 50-page long document like Skype is going to use, or if you've literally got 3 areas. To me, the most important areas are going to be your color wheel as to what's actually allowed in terms of the colors that you're going to use consistently across your branding, how you want your logo used. So, how far away from other logos is it allowed to be used? What backgrounds is it allowed to be used? I think that's really important. And the words. So this is probably why I've chosen these 3, because your language, your colors, and your logo are at very bare minimum the things that you should have in your brand Bible, whether you are somebody like Skype or you're somebody like Josh and I or Joseph. I think people tend to think that brand Bibles are something maybe a lot harder to put together than they are. It's not. It's actually just adding a personality to your brand. So whatever the things that are actually in your head, Joseph, as in terms of you hate when people talk like this about your business, put it on paper and there's your brand Bible.
Yeah, I think it's also the consistency side of things.
Yeah.
So the earlier you do it, the easier it is moving forward, because you can just say to your new staff members, all your emails have to be in this format. Your logo has to be this size and this color and so forth. So once you've done it once, it's all about the process, and then it makes it easier for moving forward.
Yeah.
So if you have, your business grows and grows and grows, and trying to implement it, when you've got a bigger business, it's actually harder. So trying to find the time's another thing though, but it doesn't have to be huge, like Sam said.
Yeah, and that's why I guess we're trying to put a template together as to like, we'll have, I guess, bare minimums, and then we'll have luxury type things, because there are parts of this that are, luxury in terms of, if we're collaborating with another brand, how do we want that set up? I mean, that's kind of a nice to have type Bible item, rather than the absolutely bare basic necessities.
Yeah.
Does that kind of answer your question?
It sure does.
Awesome.
And this one here, this just touches on tone of voice. So just, I guess, using the correct words, like I said before, in terms of how people are actually going to describe you. So it's how your receptionist answers the phone. That is all part of your marketing strategy. And I think people kind of forget that is part of their branding as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So client crushes. So this is something that I'm pretty passionate about. It's pretty well in a nutshell, your ideal client.
And Sam is not talking about me here, because I am her crush, I believe.
Obviously.
Anyway.
So realistically, what we see a lot of people do is kind of pick that real idealistic type client, the person that never argues back about the type of advice, or doesn't have any questions, or they never push back on fees, or and they pay you a shit ton of money every year. But let's be honest, that person probably doesn't exist, and you need to be more realistic about how you're going to actually pick your client crush. So I would actually focus on the person that you love dealing with the absolute most, their good profitability, and I guess
it's good to deal with.
Yeah.
We find that, people that you love working with, you end up getting a better outcome from them as well. So,
definitely.
Then they become your favorite client, and then you just want more of those.
Yeah. So when we actually started the business, we looked at interviewing over 100 of our ideal crushes to really get a good understanding as to what it is that they want. So I think the thing is, we all think that we know what our clients want, but when you actually ask them, we probably have not a whole lot of an idea. You don't need to go out and stalk 100 of these people, but ask your top 2 or 3 clients, like what is it that you are genuinely looking for from me? How can I make this experience better for you? Like, where do you actually go out? Where do you socialize? What things are of interest to you? What type of stuff do you read? Getting a really good understanding of that ideal client, things that they care about, and their dreams and aspirations. All of that actually leads into your marketing. So once you get an understanding as to what that person wants, it's really easy to then put imagery around that and messaging around it. So, I mean, just as you wouldn't in a normal circumstance, you genuinely have a crush and you have somebody that loves sunflowers, you wouldn't go and buy them a bunch of lilies. It is exactly the same in terms of what imagery you're using and the language that you're using. Importantly, it's good to get an understanding as what drives it in action. So that's what is actually their barriers of why they're coming to you, and proactively addressing that in some of your marketing. We found that proactively addressing some issues, in particular for our demographic, it's about feeling judged. So if we're proactively addressing that in some of our marketing, about, they've probably overspent on this, that, or the other, then they don't feel so intimidated to actually come and see us. So we use their inaction as part of our marketing strategy.
Yeah, what is it that they don't like, really? And you kind of use that.
That's an idea.
Yeah.
So to give you an idea, so we have 2 different client crushes at Pursue Wealth. One of them is called Motivated Mike. He earns good money but doesn't save. He doesn't have any time to work on his finances, and he's a pilot, and so it's pretty straightforward. And the next one is Positive Polly, and she really wants to have a great lifestyle, get ahead, and her values quite similarly align with ours, but she wants to see that in everything that we're posting, about honesty, fun, being genuine, those type of things. So in the course and toolkit that we are putting together, we've got a really good template to easily get an understanding as to what your client crush, or who your client crush is, and then getting a good understanding as to, well, what type of imagery could you use to actually implant in your marketing strategy to actually get through to that person.
Awesome. Yeah, it's about the social media channels. So really it's about trying to find the right channel that kind of consistently works for, now the client crush that you've got. So, when you're looking at social media, you can look at Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. There's heaps of them, Facebook, LinkedIn, Google+. So it's about working out what they're all going to be utilized for. So for us, we use Google is set up so it's got all advertising for the business. So it's got the business name, opening hours, and really importantly, Google reviews. That has helped us a lot. So if there's one key takeaway out of all today, get Google reviews, because it helps you with your Google rankings. Obviously, Google loves everything to do with Google.
So guys, I'll jump in and interrupt again with a selfish question. So if we're going to go with Google, I think everyone gets the idea of getting Google reviews. How do you actually get people to leave Google reviews? And please don't say you just ask them.
We force them. No. Well, we try to put it into the process. So once they've finished the advice process, so then it goes out an email saying, look, we've loved working with you. Obviously want to work with more people like yourself, and we would really appreciate you giving us a Google review, because it not only helps us, but it helps kind of grow up the business as well.
So I know that it's a very
generic
answer in terms of we just ask them, but it isn't just ad hoc. It is built into our process at all times. We are asking for Google reviews, and explaining how important that is along the way.
Yeah.
So we do introduce the concept quite early on in the piece. So from our initial meeting, every meeting onwards, there is part of our presentation which is about how they can actually assist us, and if that's with introductions to friends and family and things like that, or potentially a Google review. So it is quite a warm question when we actually get to it, when the push comes to shove. They know that is part of the process, is actually asking for Google reviews.
And after that, so sometimes they don't do it because it's easy for them they get a million emails, as we all do. So we generally just send like a little email just saying, look, it's been awesome, I hope the kids are well, whatever, and can you please do it? So like a really personalised email. So it is asking still though, Steve. So
yeah. I don't have a magic wand for that one. I'm sorry.
Cool.
So we're getting there. So that's Google. So LinkedIn is about building personalized profiles, so making sure that you are who you are, so then they can check out you individually as a person, not really the business as such. Facebook we kind of use for business related things. So we've got the business page, and then it's all really about videos and photos, because that's what it's all about. As we know, we scroll through and it's videos and photos that we look at. Exactly the same for Instagram. YouTube is obviously videos and used, for really kind of solidifying the brand a lot. And you can use that for also implementing videos for your website, emails, and Twitter is brand awareness. So people talking about you, actually connecting with the business or you individually, and mentioning the business and about an experience. So you get kind of notified that way. For us personally, we use Instagram, Facebook, and Google probably the most, and LinkedIn as well. And they're all used for something different. So, for example, we use Instagram really for inspirational posts. So it's kind of a photo, it's a bit inspirational. It kind of makes people feel happy about finances as well, but it's also kind of, relating to finances. And then we have Meet the Member, which is on Facebook and Instagram, which is about interviewing members or clients that have been through the process. So it would have a photo of them or several. It'd be like, why did you come get financial advice? What was your key takeaways? What were your pain points? And, what's your experience be? That works on a few levels because then it gets their friends and family looking at the Pursue Wealth page, but also so it builds followers and so forth, and it kind of gets us in front of people that we didn't think we were going to get. And it also, people will then look at it and say, okay, these are real life people, and that it's going to get rid of, some of the barriers. We've got Fun Facts, which is just a video that's, generally like a 10-second video. It could be something like, today, there's new cash out, the $50 notes, out today, which we put there on Facebook as well. Then we've got Financial Tips, which is generally a blog related on social media that links back to our website to try draw traffic there. And Insta Stories, which is all about, so the video, it's live. We kind of record a quick video. It's the new age Snapchat. And then, so Facebook and Instagram I've kind of discussed. LinkedIn, really we only do financial tips, and that's kind of linking back to the website, and that's really because it's more of a professional page, not a fun kind of page, I guess. Do you want to quickly, we can show you that. I don't know how to do it. No. So paid advertising, as part of the course, we're going to go through and show you exactly how we do that, a live kind of recording. And it's really about, we've had done paid advertising on Facebook and Instagram. It does get you more followers a lot of the time. It gets you in front of a lot of people. So you're going to need to work out why you're actually doing that. Is it, to try to boost yourself and make yourself feel better? Or is it really about trying to get more content out to people? So it can work really well. You can actually select the really direct, like who you're after. So like Sam mentioned, the client crush, you could select an income that they're after, an occupation, where they live, male or female. So you can really get down to, targeting really the individual that you're after. So the marketing can actually work really well from the advertising point of view. And then really it's about having consistency around that. As you can see from our examples, we have consistency every single week. So making sure that you're doing it frequently, sending out the same type of content and at the right time. So we find that from a peak time point of view, 8 p.m. works for the best. So we try to set things up at 8 p.m. or on a Saturday and Sunday morning. So when people are relaxed, they get on social media as well. So they're the kind of key things that we're looking at. And then we, as part of the course, are going to give you a marketing calendar. We've got a bit of an example, actually how to go about doing that. So we basically set it all up in a marketing calendar and make sure that we keep accountable to that.
Yeah, I think the thing is that you don't have to do as much content as that we're pushing out now, and we certainly didn't start by doing as much as this. But it's just about consistency, and the consistency actually helps a whole lot of things. So it allows your followers to actually know when you're going to be posting and what type of content to look out for, and then also it actually helps in terms of putting stuff on your website, your blogs. It does help with your SEO as well. So it actually increases how Google rates you as an authority on your website. Yep. So that does help your rankings.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. So this is just a little bit of an example, I guess, of our marketing calendar. So at the moment, we are kind of a little bit old school, I guess, in terms of how we're using a marketing calendar. We have been looking at Microsoft Dynamics 365. They've recently launched a marketing calendar. So whether or not this one is in the course or it might be the new Microsoft, one. The new online one, which actually links into your Outlook as well, which is something that we find a little bit frustrating at the moment, is that we're kind of running two different calendars. One, obviously, which is our marketing calendar, and then our normal calendar. So that should actually alleviate any of those issues that we have at the moment. And that's just a little bit of a guide as to what we actually have on our Instagram. So you can see we use a lot of video content to actually assist in our messaging. We've trialed all of the different types, and we feel that video messaging is actually the one that cuts through the most. People are feeling like they're seeing us more frequently. So we all, hear the stats around how many times you have to get in front of your clients every year to make a real impact. So realistically, when they're seeing our face and we're chatting to them through social media pretty well on a weekly, if not, twice a week basis, we're actually finding that they are feeling like they've seen us more.
So guys, I'll jump in there because it's a little bit hard for us old people with poor eyesight to see what's written in the box. Do you just want to walk us through the logic of not so much what's already in it, but how do you know what to put in it? So like, do you go on this week, we're going to do a video and then you work out what the video is going to be about? Or do you flip it around and go, this week we're going to talk about this, and then you work out whether you're going to do it as a video or a static post?
So we go content first, and then we decide how we're actually going to convey the message. So we know that every Tuesday we're going to put out a financial tip blog, and then we decide whether or not it needs a video to actually enhance the messaging or not. So we know the content beforehand. And we know, so, every Wednesday we've got an Insta post going out. We know that has to be a motivational Instagram post that goes out. Fin Tip Friday, that's probably the other way around. So it probably depends which one we're doing. So Financial Tip Tuesday, like I said, content first, and then we decide on the messaging. Fun Fact Friday is always going to be a video, and then we go backwards from the video. So I think it, for us, we use both techniques, I guess.
And how far out do you plan?
Yep, so we're always 2 months in ahead.
Sweet. So not 24 minutes ahead? Like, is that not enough lead time?
No. So, I mean, in terms of the content, we can push the content out really quickly, especially if it's a Fun Fact Friday, actually recording it and doing it. But we've got this plan done 2 months in advance in terms of what we actually want going out.
We are human as well. So sometimes it'll come around to Tuesday and we're quickly writing up an article.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we try to plan it ahead and have it, 2 months in advance. We'll have the topics a lot of the time. Mm-hmm. And then we're all rushing around making sure we can get a month in advance. But every now and then it'll catch you.
And I think the thing is also like reutilizing the content that you're pushing out. So I know for a lot of the blog articles that we do, we then try to send them through to different media outlets to see if that's something that they're interested in pushing out as well.
Very cool. Thank you.
Yeah, SEO, which what is SEO really? So, I mean, it's kind of a term that gets used a fair bit, but effectively it's search engine optimization. So it's how Google kind of picks you up on your website, and that is done through relativeness and the authority. So, which really is like, so relativeness. So how often you're putting up things on your Facebook? Are you like relative? Are you up to date? Are you making sure that people, you're updating things? Are you effectively doing it every single week or month or whenever you said you're going to do it? And the authority is making sure that you are who you are, really. So, there's a lot of people that kind of set up websites, and if it's been there for a day, it takes a long time for Google to actually realize. So once you've been there for a while, it's making sure you've got that authority. Google has huge amount of algorithms, so effectively no one really 100% understands exactly how it works. But that's how it kind of works. And so we deal with SEO every single month or every single week. We're doing a article, so that goes on the website, and we basically optimize that so we have the right heading, which is in line with the keyword, which is right with the meta tag. So then it gives you a good SEO. So if someone is there typing into Google and they write Afterpay, what are the pros and cons? We've got a website that's got Afterpay. The subject is what are the pros and cons of Afterpay? So hopefully that comes up. So what is important when your clients are looking on your website? So it could be things like that. So what we try to do is really get those tags and kind of get them in. So then they'll have a look, they'll type that into the website, and then they'll come up with check out our page, and hopefully it gives and portrays the message that we've got, so being genuine and professional and so forth, and it resonates with them.
Yeah, so I saw a few questions come through the other day as to what type of messaging is important on your website, whether that's videos or blogs or how much information you should really have about you. So I think in terms of how we've done it, we've used a lot of imagery in terms of portraying our message and what we think is really important to our demographic. We haven't tended to put too much content in terms of actual writing about, about us or anything like that. We are in the midst of looking at videos to actually enhance the messaging a little bit further, a little bit quicker. But obviously that does come with some cons in terms of the speed of your website and how you can actually optimize those videos. So it's kind of something that we are struggling with a little bit at the moment. So we then use our blogs as the content that is helping drive the SEO. And I've seen a few people commenting at the moment around, does anyone actually read the blogs? We find that it actually it pretty well helps our rankings on for the SEO, probably more so than anything else. To go alongside the blogs, usually there is a video that we post on our social media that's actually, I guess, advertising the blog with the key points, and if it's interesting to you, go and actually read further information. So you can kind of summarize your blog in a video if you're more into videos than blogs.
Yeah, so it'll have like the key outlines, and then people will watch the video, and then quite often they'll just click on the link. So then it allows them to kind of look at our website as well, which helps. So backlinks are really important when you're looking at SEO. And what is a backlink? It basically is when your website is mentioned on someone else's website, so you've got traffic coming into yours. So that is super important, and that's something that Google looks at as well. Bounce rates and analytics. So the bounce rate, so the facts are, if your website takes more than 3 seconds to load, about 40% of people will leave straight away. We are in a world of like instant gratification, and if it doesn't work, we're out of there. So that's super important, and that's something that you really need to pay attention to make sure the loading time works really well. Mm-hmm. And that you can actually look at Google Analytics around this. So we go through, have a look on Google. We track how many visitors are looking at our website, what pages are the most important, and so forth. So we're finding the pages that are really important are the blog pages. They get clicked on because we're putting a lot of time and effort into people to looking at those, but also your team as well. So people are really interested when it comes to financial advice, who they're going to be dealing with. So they want to know, and have like that kind of touch point before they actually come and meet you. So make sure, if you don't already, have something about yourself, a photo, a little bit about you as well. Mm-hmm. Websites and how much to spend. So that is a super hard question because, when we created ours, we've done it twice in 4 years, so we're a bit crazy. But initially it was super cheap, and then it cost about $1,000. And then moving forward, we got quotes of up to 20, 25 grand. So this time I think it's cost about $8,000-9,000 in total. And we had to spend time making sure the content was then keywords that Google was going to pick up, but also portraying the message that we want.
Yeah, if you wanted to really hand it over to somebody else, you'd probably be looking at like 20 grand.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Oh, crap.
Hang on.
All right, so done that, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, cool. So we use a lot of optimization, and then so in our course we're actually going to be talking a lot about what keywords are prime for advisors to be using.
Yep.
And how to actually read your Google Analytics and analyze maybe where you could be focusing your time on, and what's more important to be spending time and money on focusing.
Something really key to note is that the banks will pay big money for keywords. So if there's Google advertising, just be aware of that, because it's one of the most expensive keywords because we're competing with the banks, essentially.
So we've ruled that out as an option, realistically.
Correct.
Did we miss a page?
Nope.
Okay, cool. So automation and emails. I know, Steve, this is something that you're pretty keen to know a little bit about. So automated emails are realistically a sequence of emails that fall through a funnel. When somebody registers some interest, or if you grab somebody's email address, you can actually put this on this sequence without needing to do anything. And it's more about nurturing. So it's kind of like a nurture funnel, I guess. So using automated emails usually is done through a lead magnet. A lead magnet can be something like a downloadable tool. So if you've got a calculator, or you've got a particular blog topic, or I don't know, potentially there's a lot of things.
A newsletter,
anything.
quite often it'll pop up on your website. You know what? Do you want the newsletter?
Yeah, something like that. So anything that allows them to enter in their email address, it'll actually go through to a different site. And the site that we're using is a company called Active Campaign. And it will actually push them through onto your funnel or your automated email sequence. And for example, the email sequence might, welcome them to being a subscriber to your site. I think we've all got these emails before. The second one might be we're glad you've stopped by. Here's a little bit about our company. The next one might be like, letting you know a little bit about our services, and this is what we're all about. And have you been able to book an appointment yet? If not, why not? Can we help you out some
past customer satisfaction, and here's what people are talking about us. This is, things that they really like.
So they'll all be on different emails, and they'll be set over a course of time, which is just kind of nurturing that relationship. So you're consistently just touching base with them, and, even if they weren't quite ready to, commit to coming in straight away, maybe in 6 months' time when you're still sending them some sort of nurture email, they might go, oh, actually now I'm ready to do that. So you don't actually lose that, or it doesn't turn into a cold lead.
The thing to be aware of with that, though, is you don't want to bombard them too much with automated emails. Otherwise, they're going to be like, these guys are super annoying, and they're just going to unsubscribe. So just be aware of that. It's about finding that happy medium.
Yeah, the time frame in between emails is super important. And the type of content that you're doing. Obviously, newsletters, and I know, Steve, you touched on this before. For us, we don't find any value in adding new content into our newsletters. So all our newsletters are doing is utilizing the same content that we pushed out throughout the previous month. We're putting it into a newsletter format and pushing it out to those who prefer email marketing opposed to social marketing. And then just a little bit about us, what's been happening, just a quick one-liner paragraph. Obviously, consistency in messaging and branding is really important, and that all comes down to the language that you're using. So I know I harp on about this a lot, but those email sequences have to be in line with your with the correct messaging and the language that you're using. I was having a chat to a guy the other day, and he was talking about his email sequence, and he says, by the third one, I'm pretty well like begging them, why aren't they coming in to see me, or have you found pretty much. It just kind of seemed a little bit desperate, and he was going, I'm not sure why it's not working. And so changing up that language can be a really good way, and it does take a lot of refining and tweaking throughout the process to be able to get that nurture sequence right.
In an example of something that you were mentioning then, one of the things that we would say in that circumstance, if someone didn't come in one of the emails is, look, we understand things get busy and, life gets away from you. So if, you want to make contact with us, that's fine, but we're not going to follow you up anymore. So it kind of throws it into their hands.
Yeah.
So we find that actually works a lot of the time.
Yeah, exactly. Because they kind of get used to being followed up. And then all of a sudden when you kind of threaten that you're not going to.
It's now with me.
Yeah. They kind of come back quite quickly. Which is something that has worked well for us. So we do have examples of lead magnets that we use. So that's the particular in this example. I think we had a blog topic which was all about education funding, and then the funnel sequence that we've actually utilized in including like introduction of the team, introduction of different services and stuff that we provide as well.
Yeah, meeting existing members.
Yeah.
Right, so then it's all about measuring your success. So it's about spending money, but then to make money. So what is your ROI, I guess? So what's the return on investment that you're actually trying to get? So for us, we try to get about 7 times. So whatever you're spending on marketing, you're trying to get 7 times that back. It doesn't always work. So it's really about working out, okay, what is working and what's not. And that's through the tracking and recording of your data. So we basically have a CRM that we use, most people would, and every time someone inquires, then if it's online or they're phoning up, we just ask them, we record that, and then we track it and make sure that that is working. So we're trying to work out, okay, is spending the money giving us the results that we want? Like Sam was mentioning before, like could be all show. So you don't want it to be like all about you, because you want it to actually be money in the big red door, which
The big red door.
Yeah, the red door. So
so with that, I mean, I think a lot of people can get hung up on how many likes and followers you have, but really that doesn't convert to money. A lot of the time people also pay for followers or pay for likes. That actually does no justice whatsoever. Some people think it adds to credibility. To be honest, we haven't seen any proof of that anywhere. And it actually can harm you sometimes, especially we have seen people pay for Google reviews. If you do that, you'll get considered by Google as what they call a black hat, which is utilizing services that I guess aren't above board to increase your rankings, which is a big no-no. And to come back from a black hat pretty well means you need to scrap your website and start again.
Start again. So you want to be wearing a white hat.
Exactly.
That's SEO talk. So making sure that you're tracking exactly what you want to get out of it is super important. And this can be done through things like, so now with all the social media platforms and with Google Analytics, it's really easy to do this as well. So we record our own data, but we've also got all the data on Facebook and Instagram and Google. So we're going through and monitoring this and making sure that it is actually working. And then I suppose another key thing really is it worth your time doing this, or is it worth outsourcing it? So for us, we outsource some things, but we do a lot of it internally as well. So we do all of our social media internally because we want to keep that, I suppose, genuine and personal side of things. But we outsource a lot of our backlinks that we're getting and our SEO side of things, because trying to get on other people's websites and try to create those backlinks is a lot of time and effort. So we spend money trying to get that as well. So that's what we've found that works.
I think a big thing that or a big problem that we've seen with some people who are spending money on SEO is they're not actually getting reporting on their analysis or on their SEO and how it's provided. So, we've got friends spending, over $1,000 a month on their SEO. It hasn't seemed to improve yet. The typical response that you get from your SEO guys is, well, how much, give it another 6 months, give it another 12 months. I've got time, blah, blah, blah.
Takes time.
Realistically, if you're spending money on it, you want to be seeing reports as to the actual proofs in the pudding, I guess, which kind of brings me to my next point. So, when we are
this is kind of like one of our measurement tools that we use.
So we're actually getting reporting every month on how many users are actually going onto our website. So it will fluctuate anywhere between, for us, probably about 170 to 300 users every month. And that helps us dictate. We kind of look back and say, okay, well, what happened in that month that was particularly eventful? Did we have a particular blog post or a particular topic we were talking about? Or is it just, is it just seasonal type growth? So it does help us, and I think it's really important to track that and the progress. And the other one that we look at quite frequently is obviously the keywords. So for us, our primary keyword is in this example, all based around South Melbourne, the type of growth or the importance that we are, or our ranking in regards to
So
Google.
This would be when someone writes in Google, financial planner South Melbourne, you can see here 210 searches come up per month. We were sitting at number 12, and now that was in February, and you can see now in September we're sitting at number 7, so heading in the right way.
Yeah.
And there's all the other rankings there as well. So that's kind of what that means, and that is all created through a lot of work with Google, the blogs, SEO with the backlinks, and so forth. And it's a little bit about us. We couldn't really just say all of this.
So I think it's pretty cool. Go and have a look at what we do. And if you have any suggestions for us, we'd love to hear them as well. This is just what's been working for us.
Do you want to jump on some of these and show?
It's up to Steve.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I'd love to, guys, but we've only got a few minutes left. So I think anyone can stalk and cyber stalk if you haven't already, and grab Sammi and Josh's deets there. I'm going to grab, so obviously those links for the course are live now. There'll be an email going out to everybody tomorrow. Don't bail. I'm going to do Q&As. There's an email going out tomorrow with a recording of the session plus the links, and they'll stay live, as I said, for about a week, and then they'll get buried. Guys, we've got some Q&A, but before we do, I am just going to let you know what is coming up next month, because it is not the end of our webinars. We have another one. So next month we've got the award-winning Mia Taylor, who was only vaguely comfortable with me making sure she put in award-winning in there, because she is equally as award-winning as these two that are in front of you now. So Mia's going to talk about how to fast-track your career path. So this is for all of the team members, staff members, employees, not the big boss, anybody underneath the big boss that's trying to develop their career. Mia's going to show you how to fast track that bad boy and get it moving as fast as possible. And of course, you can come and hang out with Mia and Joshy and Sammi and myself and a bunch of other people at our inaugural conference, Let's Talk More Action 19 in Melbourne, St Kilda, next February. Get your name on the door and hopefully we'll be able to give you tickets to actually buy in the next little bit. So before we close, why don't we get stuck into some Q&A? And I'll go back to my chat box. All right, so Madison's thrown a couple up there. So how about we go with one to start with, which was around. She's got an old crew that have already been given a quarterly newsletter as part of their deal, basically. Mm-hmm. How do we improve? How do you improve this? Is this something where you guys would go, well, look, are the clients actually reading the bloody thing? Have you validated that? If they're not, would you just, like a Band-Aid, Jerry, all the Gen Xers in the room that still know what Seinfeld is, rip it off in one go and just go, no newsletter for you?
Yeah, so I think, Matt, you probably need to have a look at, I'm not too sure what system you're using to shoot out your newsletters, but you could probably get a view as to what your open rate is. And, if you're not seeing an open rate probably of above 20 at least, I'd probably reconsider 20%. Sorry, yes, 20%. I'd probably be looking at whether or not that is the best option for you going forward and maybe looking at changing the service agreement. If you are wanting to do a video, if you are wanting to do a newsletter, maybe try change it up completely. And instead of doing the generic stuff, maybe start sending out videos as your quarterly newsletter is something that I would consider and re-engaging with them in that way. I think video can be pretty powerful.
I'd personalise it a bit as well and make sure it's, about the team, introducing someone in the team or, what the team's doing or, it's just something that, they can relate to as well.
Yeah, and so I think
not just financial advice related things.
In our newsletter, we talk about, so every month we do a different challenge within the team and the amount of conversation that we've had with people about that. So every challenge that we do is all about, generating energy, just changing it up a little bit and trying to re-engage those people. But yeah, I'd try video as a first course of action.
Yeah.
So Mark's question was then he's got a set budget like most of us do for marketing and he wants to choose between SEO or paid advertising. Where should he start?
Personally, SEO is what's paid off for us, definitely. If you're paying for advertising and then they're going to your website and your website isn't optimized for SEO, they'll probably bounce anyway.
Yeah, getting traffic to something that's not actually fully completed.
Yeah. And SEO is probably what has, definitely helped us a lot more than paid advertising, 100%.
Okay. Simon's question was around website banner ads. Do these things work? Are they worth it? What's the deal?
I find that sometimes people will pay for the website banner ads. So someone might look on your website. It might be another advisor just checking it out, and then they're going to get all of these website banner ads. So it's not necessarily targeted at the right people, but it can work if, you've got someone who is looking at your website, kind of interested and it keeps reminding them about it. So it's a consistent process.
We personally haven't used it, but it is something that we kind of have toyed with, but the price point for us kind of was a little bit too high in terms of the return that we were going to see off it. But I mean, it is something that we're open to, but I wouldn't profess that we are the experts at that.
No.
Okay, cool. And then Andrew had a question. How often are you analysing marketing insights?
Yeah, so we analyse all of our socials on a weekly basis and then we analyse our website on a monthly basis.
And finally, Joseph said, are you advocating for SEO over paid Google advertising or Facebook advertising is what it sounded like.
Advocating for SEO?
Yeah, I would.
Yes, yeah. Personally, yes, that is definitely what has worked for us.
Cool.
Paid.
Well, Sammi, Joshy, thank you so much for hanging with myself and everybody else on our webinar today. Guys, don't forget to register get your name on the door list. The webinar is coming up next month with the award-winning Mia Taylor. Join the Facey group, the Advice Movement, if you haven't joined it yet. Otherwise, thank you so much for hanging with us.
Thanks, guys.
And we'll see everybody, same bat time, same bat channel next month. Bye, guys.
Awesome.
Bye, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.